the fuck? All right, thank you very much. Next up is really on the digital transformation, modernized asset management, and so on. So what we're gonna talk about first is we're gonna go into document management. Now, document management is a little bit more than just putting files on a shared drive somewhere. It's many aspects to it. When you look at the life cycle of a document, it goes through planning. It goes through, well, if it's a drawing, engineering, and it goes through reviews, approvals. We have to distribute it either to our own team members or to contractors, subcontractors, might be part of a package. And if we're not a greenfield project, if we're in operations, well, a little bit dicey. We have to deal with concurrency, many projects happening at the same time, and so on. So we're going to touch on those. And as you've seen before in our Beehive, all the data in Omega is connected. So we have the documents, we connect them to whatever type of equipment we have, and we connect those again through the BIM model if we have it. It could be just like a list of our equipment. It doesn't have to be modeled. So let's jump out of PowerPoint. You've seen the screen I've been working with, the snappy registers, having the options available, the AI assistant. So the same applies to document management. So let's start like, first thing I always get asked, can I add my own fields and layouts and so on? So yes, you can. There's many fields you can drag and drop in here. You can move things around if you want, put them in. But you can also create your own data points. There's no limit to how many fields you have in this grid, really. Like it's up to you. You do that yourself. Another thing I often get answered is, well, I want to filter and so on, and it's easy to work with. I want to see my electrical drawings, so it's similar to Excel. I get those up. A lot of us, we are used to working with SharePoint, and we want to maybe have more like a tree view. So you want to go by discipline, document type, and then look at my drawings. Same way applies for Omega here. Like you can create as many of these kind of structures you have. It's just data-driven instead of folder-structured. So full flexibility on them. When it comes to searching and so on, we've seen like you can filter on the top of the columns, or you can go into AI Assistant similarly, like Arvid did, and ask for questions. So have a conversation with it. So if I'm in the engine room looking for a specific manual, I'll tell them that, or if I don't want to use the regular filter. So give me the motor spec for WEG motor in the engine room. So it will go through our data, it will find it, analyze and so on, and do content searches and so on. Yeah. Let's see here. Of course. Okay. Working with data is easy, but we also want to maybe preview the documents. And first preview we have is this one is an Excel file. You'll see it natively show up here in Excel on the side. And then we have other things where we have maybe PDFs. We'll get a PDF view up. Well, I'll just go back here. Where we have the PDF view up in our browser. Maybe I'm struggling with the Wi-Fi here. There we go. Like this. But also files like native files. I might have a drawing. Wait, maybe I'll move up a little bit. Move up in my context here. Go to my data. Huh. Just bear with me here. Where we have native files, and we'll go through those the same way. So, give it a little bit of a second here. We'll maybe go to the 3D view first. And you can easily browse through it, and actually natively. You don't have to open any plugins or anything like that. And 2D views as well, we do support. And it just gives you the same view. Same thing for IFC files, if you use ISO modeling and so on. It comes up right in the browser. One thing we do differently than some of our competitors is that we stack our revisions. So we only have, if we go down to a file here, if we have multiple revisions lying on top of each other, and we present the users with the latest revision. So you don't have to be confused which revision am I working at and what's the latest. So you see revision 1 and 2, and then you can easily go between them and see exactly what was changed. And well, in this case, it's a drawing, and it can be a little bit hard to move between and see what happens, but you have the full history and metadata and so on. If I want to really go closer, I want to look into the details, so analyze for me what happened. Why did we rev up? What was the changes? Our engine will also take you through that. It will go actually pixel by pixel in the PDF here and show you exactly where the changes was. It's quite easy to use. Where's the Y guy? Yeah, it's all built in. When it comes to distribution, how do we distribute and so on? So of course we support having distribution groups, templates, rules, and so on. Like you see up here with the electrical drawing group, I have those. One place we really have an edge is distributing to our EPCs. So if I have a package, I send it off to my contractor, but then a drawing got revved up, I'm a little bit out of sync. So in Omega, the default behavior is that the second I release a new drawing in here, and if it's part of any distribution to a contractor, it will actually automatically flag it, send it off to the contractor, hey, it's been revved up, and so on. Unless I specifically doesn't want to do it, and then I'll prevent it, you know, like because of somewhat of a reason. But like it takes away a lot of that manual labor with having things out of sync and so on. Wow, we have Zoom. Okay. Another area, and I will zoom here, Shane, thank you. Having smart PNIDs and so on, being able to move from one area to the other, we do support. So how do we do that? So we have an AI tool that here has gone through and found our tags. So it does actually, it analyzes the document, pulls out the tag numbers, figure out what's what, and connects it. So we can use this to harvest our tags. We could harvest the tags of the model, or in some cases, our clients will upload Excel. They got a tag list in Excel, and we connect it to the drawing using the AI. So in this case, we have manage object links, where we do fancy stuff behind the scene. This is Jan Christian's table, where we actually go in and look at this, and there's like syntaxes you can build up, and the AI will use that then to find your information. But what it actually does is harvesting the objects, and it makes it easier for us as users. So if I click one of these, I have a couple of links down here. Can even zoom a little bit in. So I can go and look at the details directly, like same as if I didn't have it in the model here, but I'll find all the information about that tag, I'll find the metadata, and so on. And this one is in a 3D model, so I even get a preview of it. But if I want to see where this is actually sitting in the field, I'll just click my 3D link, and it takes a little bit of time now. It's going to just load up the geometry for us, and it will place it in the model. So let's go in and take a look at it. So here is my tag, my pump, right in the model. Like you can, I went from a PDF drawing straight to the model, or I can go to the tag register and so on. But maybe I actually want to look at more information about it. So yes, we have whatever information we sucked off it from the model and so on, but what has happened? Do I have any history on it? So what I'll see here is I have my scope items, which will be all the inspection, maintenance, and so on, listed in a historical view. I have related tags and objects, systems during commissioning. I'll find everything. It's all tied together, put together in the model, and I'll go back to my drawing the other way. So that's kind of cool how we all combine things, and it's again like this beehive of having the data intertwined and linked. If you have, you don't have to. Like, it's not a showstopper, but it adds to it. While we are on the documents and drawings, one place where we see, well, quite often where we see, clients come to us, they need a document management system. And they have a lot of legacy information. We have shared folders, we have a drive sitting over there. Maybe we actually bought an asset and we don't really know what it is. So we got to analyze it and figure out what's the document number, what the revision is this, and so on. And a lot of the times this will sit most of the time down in the corner here, and we'll have a document title and so on. So using, I think it's actually a combination of a couple of AIs, we can do an analysis on a document. And I'm just gonna clear this and run it again so you guys see what happens. So what it does, it goes through the file, it finds all the data, and in this use case, I'm really interested in the metadata, sucking off the metadata, getting the title, maybe the document number, and so on. So here I had some, and I'll choose to do the title here, and then like, okay, let's update this one based on what the AI said. I could select all, and then just update. So you see now my title was updated and so on. So I showed you here now how we would do it for one. But when we migrate a couple of 100,000 documents, we'll loop through. If it's a CAD file, we'll turn around the format, we'll suck up the information, and we'll populate and try and slice and dice the information together so you have a proper register. So I know we have some clients over here we have helped in the past, and maybe on that corner as well, where we have done this big migrations jobs where we had duplicates and so on, and we need to stack the revisions and find the correct documents and so on. Moving on in the life cycle of documents. As an owner, we often do reviews. And doing the reviews is cumbersome if you don't have a system to do it, because you have to send it out, you have to consolidate answers and then send the answer back to engineering and different codes and so on. So Omega helps you do all that. Through the whole distribution we just looked up, you set up your review and so on. We have a review tool, so this is a PDF review. You can see Cody already finished this, added some comments and so on. And you have a bunch of the annotation tools up here, and I can go through Cody's comments and see exactly what he did and so on. One of the questions I always get asked is, can I have my engineering symbols? Can I have my valves in here? Because I'm used to that in Bluebeam. I love that this is online and part of it, but how do I do that? So you can really load up any symbols here. This is an example of piping when we have a valve. So if I want to put in a valve, yeah, I'll just do this, and I'll put it in and zoom it in and add that as part of my review. Or if this is a red line, I can go in and do it. And it's all here in the browser, no plugins, no nothing. And consolidate that answer back and finalize the review. Once the review is done, we have a full history log of who said what we sent back, and so on. And the comments get sucked out, so they sit as record. We can produce an Excel if you want, or we can have comment discussions inside the tool. So this is a typical drawing review, but sometimes I make a procedure. I'll work in Office, and if you have any of the Office documents, then of course it loads up. I can go in here, I have track changes enabled, and we'll track the review the same way. If this is a PowerPoint or a Word document and so on, we'll have the comments sitting on the side, and I can go down and see exactly what I said and so on. The last type of review supported in Omega would be the model review. So if you have a multidisciplinary or one discipline, you can go in here and you can actually do your model review right in the browser as well, and adding your feedback and so on. So all the different layers and so on will load up on the side. All this, one of the things I mentioned earlier was the models, and you see one loading up here. So let's explore that. I know a lot of my clients, they have laser scans, and they have CAD files, and maybe they have IFC files, which is more the ISO standard. So if I want to go in my models, I'll go to my BIM model here. And maybe I'll switch here to, let's do this one. This is a hospital we worked on. So again, first off, our BIM model could be different discipline, different files, and so on. And they all sit in document management, revision, stacked, and so on. So when there's a change to the HVAC system, I'll just load up that new HVAC file, which sits in document management, and it gets processed and put into the model. So this model actually, there's a lot of different layers to it. And I even have the map off. So let's turn off the map. We can start taking off the architectural and so on, and you can see how the model updates as I'm taking things on and off. So this is really how these are going behind the scenes. You can see under electrical, there's actually 5 different files that is viewed present. So easy layer to it, and so on. Now, as this builds up, what you'll see here is I have a 2D view, and I have a 3D view. So if you want to look at things in 2D, we can zoom in here. And this is actually the different floors you can go into, and maybe you even want to go underground. And it will load up the geometry. And I'll switch back. You can see how it will look in a different view. So slice it up and down as you wish. I'm going to put on the architectural as well. This is all good. But how do you use this data? What more kind of benefit can I get out of this? So if I go to more like a hierarchy kind of view, where I want to look at, maybe I'm in commissioning here. I want to look at systems and subsystems and so on. Maybe I want to look at my backup generators. I can click this, and you see highlighted in blue now is the system and subsystem. So this brings the tags and the documents, everything is linked together. If I want to combine this up with the schedule or progress, through the objects and what state it is in, I can visualize whatever I want. I can color a set of objects green and so on to visualize my progress. And again, the data, I can go into the properties, I can see what documents are attached to this specific tag, and I can bring up the drawing and so on. So everything is linked together. I'm gonna switch to a different one, ProOS, a different one. And we're gonna look at LAS, point clouds, laser scans. A lot of my clients, they will have, well, we buy an asset, and it was made 30 years ago, and there's no model for it, right? So what do? So maybe we have a new expansion on it. So we want to use whatever point cloud we have to visualize what's there today and overlay it with what we are building. And it's point clouds and scans a little bit easier. It's actually just geometry. So if I go here and I'll bring in, you can see the first layer was really the new model I was building, and now I'm bringing in what I scanned around. And then I can dive into this information the same way we did before. For those that play video games, this is better. And for those that have really good eyes, you can also then see what we missed in the model. So if I click my layers and turn off, if I know actually the HVAC system here was kind of missed in the model, so you can kind of see, okay, we better add this back. So if you want to take little portions and update, it's all sitting with different files, so it's quite flexible to use. And what we often find is like these models or these laser scans, they're kind of hidden. They're sitting on some shared drive, and you don't really have access to them. So by bringing them in here, everyone gets access, and they can easily go in and walk through the data as we have it. Wow. Appreciate it. I got one as well. Good. Last thing, well, maybe not last thing, but one thing is, I mentioned the e-learning courses, the Omega Academy. Just an example here, we have, okay, I want to work with documents, how do I do it? Test yourself, there's videos and all that. So every role we have in the system will have this. So there's a course for contractors. You know, like I need their document controller to learn how to use the system. We can just enroll them, they do their thing, and so on. And you can tweak this to your own need. So we looked a lot on how we work with documents and assets and so on, but like it's a little bit harder to understand how easy is it to get information into Omega. So I want to just touch on that. that's my last point because, yeah, so I'm going to start with the document register again, and I'm going to move it over to my project. So the easiest way I need a document here is I'm just going to drag and drop. What happens now is we have, I think it was an electrical drawing, and it's flagged in red. So what does this mean? In Omega, this will only be accessible to myself now and to the admins. The rest of my teams won't see it. Reason why is because I haven't given it enough metadata to actually produce a document number. I don't know what kind of document type it is and what kind of permissions should be set, so it's kind of sitting in a draft mode here now. And to get it out there, what I saw there was a red button to click, and it will load up all the metadata. Okay, so this was document type was undefined. I'm going to give it this, electrical drawing, and it's asking me for the whatever I configured up as the required fields, and it was made today. So by doing that, now it turns black, and it's available to everyone that has access to electrical drawings in this context on this project. It's really easy to get a document in this way. You know, you get an email, can you put this in? So it's only about the access and so on, who needs it. Other way is, you know, new document or new plan, you can reserve a series. Maybe you want 100 drawings reserved. That's easy to do. Or you can have your engineers just do this themselves. So if I want to make a change procedure, and this would then be, let's see if we have some procedures here. We can do that. Well, what I also can do is I can upload one, or I can, you know what, I'm going to choose a template. And there's a template here from me that has my logo and so on. So I'm going to use that to create my document. These kind of like step-by-step what's required is obviously something you filter for your set up for your project or for your asset, and we can publish it to other projects and so on, but we can also break off if we buy an asset and they have a different numbering system. There's no limitation here. And really to work with this, maybe I'm going to write this. I think Arvid is a good guy here. He knows about changes. And I can just open it here and start typing away, and it will save and all that. And it's that easy to work with. Well, we'll go. I'll save and close. And with that, the document is signed back in, and it will be updated. And we can even go to maybe the preview here, and it will load up in the browser here. So very easy to work with, easy to share, and so on. And then I will just use the journal here if I want to communicate. I need Arvid to actually start this. He got a notification, but I'm just going to give him action. This will now pop up on Arvid's, we'll give him to the end of the week, his homepage. So the last way to really interact getting documents in is either if we are in a migration or if we are in, we have EPCs and you need them to submit their recent files to you. We have what's called deliveries, document deliverables. This is where their portal where they can dump in their information and submit it to you. So example will be, Here I have some nicely defined documents with names and so on. And we'll load up those. So if it's named nice and clean, we'll suck out the metadata if it matches. If, like here, revision A, it's red, probably means that there has been a review before, so this must be revision B, and so on. I had them nicely named, but a lot of the times we don't have that option, and we just get the file names. And then you can just click off this one, use AI analysis to the uploaded documents, and we'll do the same procedure we saw earlier, where it actually just sucks out the information directly from the documents and put them in there to validate that. And you can also do this in batches later on. And then you proceed to the delivery if you want to approve, like the EPC will proceed to delivery, and then it's up to the project, should this go directly in the document register or should it go to the document controller for some extra validation. It's up to you to define on the contractor. It comes down to trust. Early in the project, we might not trust our EPC that much, but as our relationship matures, we trust them, we have a good standing relationship, and then maybe you automatically get it, and the distribution rule takes over from there, if it should go to review or out for IFC and so on. So in a document, control document world, this is really good. And then we always have these cases where we fall a little bit outside the box and so on, where, you know, SharePoint might have been just as good, or I don't have a document number yet, I don't have it established, and so on. So what we have is what we call share folders, where as an alternative to a full-blown document management register. And this is kind of like, think of it as a temporary, maybe, scenario, where I can load up whatever kind of files I want into a folder and give access based on that folder. If I say I'm migrating an asset, I might use this tool first to collect all my information, drop them in different folders. And as I feel like, okay, now I'm actually ready to take on document management and give them numbers and whatnot, maybe I want to select a few of them, and I can use them then to send into the document register. I feel ready for this now, and so on. Or other cases like today, we want to share the presentations with our audience later on, and I actually want to publish these to the web using a hidden URL. So I can go here and I can say publish this folder to the web for the next week, and then I get this like hidden URL that I can distribute and people can go and download and so on. If you have a team building and you don't want to give them full access, but you want to give them the pictures, this is the perfect place to do that. Okay, so going back, document management for us, it has a lot of the features that you expect and a lot of scalability. Our goal is really to empower the document controllers to be more like expediters and let everyone work in the tool and so on. So it's a very, very forward-thinking tool, and we sprinkle the AI on wherever we can. So thank you guys for listening.